Okay, question 23 then, we've got 2x squared minus 20x plus c, and then we've got the identity symbol is equal to, always equal to the a brackets x minus b squared plus 3b, and we're asked to work out the value of c. So there are different ways that we can do this question. It kind of depends what jumps out at you. I look at it and the first thing I'm thinking of is this is completing the square notation. But that's probably because I'm a maths teacher, so I'm probably thinking some of you wouldn't necessarily look at it because it is the hardest version of completing the square and it's got a lot of missing information. So we've got a missing C, missing A, B and a 3B, so it's quite a complex one. Alternatively, some people will be looking thinking, right, it's got brackets, so I will expand. So I'll show both methods. I would probably think, some of you might think it's easy to expand, so we'll try that one first, but then we'll go back to completing the square maybe in another video. So if we just expand this bit first of all, because that'll probably get you some marks. Remember this is a times x minus b squared, and indices in BIDMAS comes first, so actually the x minus b squared bit comes first, so x minus b times x minus b. Just so we can try and find something about this to compare it to the other side. So multiplying that out then, x times x, x squared, x times minus b, minus, and then alphabetical order, so we'll call it minus bx, and then again minus bx there, and then a minus b times a minus b will give us a plus b squared, so I'll keep the plus there as well. So that's the indices bit done, and the whole of this needs to be multiplied by a. So this would simplify to x squared minus, because we've got minus bx and minus bx, that would give us minus 2bx plus b squared. Now this has to be times by a, so the whole of that needs to be times by a. So I'm now going to multiply the whole of that by a. So a times x squared would be ax squared, so a certain amount of number x squareds. A times minus 2bx would be minus 2, lots of, and then a comes first then b, so a, b, x. So again, a and b will just be numbers, and then a times b squared would give us a plus a, b squared. So that's simplifying that bit, and then we've still got that plus 3b. So if I wrote that side out, this is what we would currently have. So let's come down here. In fact, can I leave it on the page? Yeah, I can just about leave it on. We would have the ax squared minus the 2abx plus the ab squared, and then in the question, so that's everything from the grid, in the question we had a plus 3b, so that's plus 3b. So this is supposed to always be equal to, so I'm just bringing it back from the question, so just from there, bringing it back in, this is supposed to be equal to 2x squared minus 20x plus c. So we might be looking at this thinking, well, they don't really compare, but let's really think about it. So this is an ax squared. If a is a number, a is just a number of x squared. So looking at the left hand side, comparing these two terms, a is just a number, this would give us that a must be 2, because we've got a certain amount of number of x squareds. These sides are supposed to be equal to each other, so therefore our a must equal 2. So we're just literally comparing to see what we can see. So by looking at this, a must equal 2. So if I put that a into there, so I substitute it in there, what I would know is this is 2x squared. Now you might be thinking, why didn't I think it was anything to do with b? Because this didn't have an x at all. So the thing where I've got an x squared is definitely this term. Now using the a is 2 again, I'm going to sub it into the next line. So minus 2a, so remember that's 2 times the a, so 2 times 2, so that's minus 4. Minus 2 times the a is 4, and then I've still got a b, and I've still got an x, so I'm just subbing the 2 in, and then I've got a plus, a is 2, so that'll be 2b squared, and then I don't know the value of b yet, so that's it. That is all I know from that. So that is still equal to that 2x squared minus 20x plus c. So I now need to look again and find the x term, which is here, and have a think about this. So it might help if I just put a bit of colour with it so you can see how I'm comparing. So I'm comparing, this is the one with the x, I'm comparing this one because it's supposed to be equal to this one. So how can minus 20x be equal to minus 4bx? So let's think about it. Minus 20x, how can that be equal to minus 4bx? Well, what number would have to go there to make this minus 4 times b equal minus 20? The only number that can go there is when b is 5, because minus 4 times 5 is minus 20, and then that will be x. So just by observation again, I can now see that b must equal 5. So I'm going to sub that in now so I can see it. So again, on this side I'm just comparing it to that, and that needs to be always equal to the 2x squared. Now this is minus 20x, so again we can see it's getting like it. Now I know that b is 5, I can sub it into here. So that's 2 times 5 squared, so that's 2 times the 5 that's squared. Remember, indices come first, so 5 squared is 25, times by 2 would give me 50. So this term here is now 50, so plus 50, and then 3b, because b is 5, is 3 times 5, so plus 3 times 5 plus 15. Now I've got two numbers here that can go together, so if I rewrite this line, it's 2x squared minus 20x plus, and then 50 and 15, 65. And that is equal to this side, 2x squared minus 20x plus c. So by doing that, so I've got the x squared the same, I've got the x is the same, and then the only thing left now is the constant on the end, which shows that the constant must be 65. So therefore c equals 65, and that was what the question was asking. The question said work out the value of c, and just by expanding and comparing, I've got the answer. C is 65. So if you want to see a different method which is done through completing the square, watch the next video.